Good morning, all of my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. I am trying to figure out what buttons need to be pushed here. We have a lot of buttons to push. I have to admit, I'm getting somewhat dismayed by the fact that I spend a lot more time fussing with buttons than I do actually doing work. But I guess if you think about it from the point of view of it weeds out the people who aren't interested in doing this job. I guess that makes some sense in light of that. But on the same token, it's kind of like, but do you have to make it so complicated? Do you have to make it complicated? I guess you have to make it complicated. Okay. All right, guys. We got more work to do. Always more work. Just like to kind of get an idea of what the pages look like, the layouts look like. Right? Right? Okay, so I'm looking here at the scene in Macross. And I'm just looking to kind of get a guidance of how to bring this about, right? So getting my G pen and putting myself into the blue modes again, because I like my blue mode. I'm gonna come on over here. Let's talk a little bit about, okay, so where is the Misegome? Misegoma is gonna be like, I don't know, here, right? I have May round. And our Jacine is still here. And the door has just closed in the quarters. Actually, I think I want to kind of cross over a little bit here because it's sort of the same thought process. Right? Neat. Mm. What I'm looking at is I'm looking at a scene where they're just chatting with one another. And I'm actually kind of sitting here going, I wonder if I should inject some kind of something that shows that action's happening. But feeling like we're not doing a lot of action right here. These scenes are actually really cool because they actually somewhat, in this scene specifically here, is Captain Global talking to Misa ISO and sort of having a discussion, which is interesting. And I kind of want to make sure that I've got the same kind of thing. So because I feel like I should have some post in here. Not here, but here. Right? Something here that like some kind of drone recon or something, just to kind of give it feels like this entire half of the issue, this back half of the issue, is just a bunch of talking heads. For example, like if we take this line here, just move it there, just hold the groove and shrink it down. There's the dot on. So, would you like scritches? Is that what you're after here, George? Alright. He just jumped up on my leg and my foot. Okay. I mean, hey, that's totally fine. It kind of ruins the pattern a little, but not that much. Like that feels just a little bit. Let's do it. Good morning, Colton. Uh, okay. I feel like it had a rhythm, and then I had to fix some big problems that were legitimately problems, and now it doesn't flow. Like moving stuff around has not done me any good. I'm trying to make this flow better. And it's actually not necessarily a flow better problem. I've got pretty much an entire story of which my main spaceship just sits on a planet in the rain. You know, so it's kind of like, how do I make it interesting enough that people stay with the story? But there's a lot of talking heads in this. There's a lot of person A talking to person B, person B talking to person A. He's very loud. Yep, I got the talking head problems. And so I've been actually like going back and like looking at my favorite author's manga. I'm like just trying to figure out how did he do it? What does he do? He has a bunch of talking heads. Yeah, I think so too. Those slice of life comics are a good option, certainly. Oh, you cut it. Story. There's a reason I love Macross. So I mean, like, it makes sense. One thing we can do though Right now, we'll do this. What are you up to today, Colton? Oh, yeah. Kind of the same thing I'm doing in a way. I'm just thumbnailing comments. Oh, yeah, of course I want to see. Duh. Oh, hey, you can join. But also, did you know that we have a Discord? Did you know that? You should join though, because then it'll give you something, somebody visiting me. And if you join, I can go downstairs and put more ice in my coffee and stuff. Okay. You can put it in the Discord. That's also good. I will. As long as you know where the Discord is. That's the important part. Also, join me in here. Join me. I don't know if I can hear you though.
Hello.
Oh, now I can hear you.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you? Your room looks entirely different now.
Oh, I changed cameras.
That's why your room looks entirely different.
Yeah, because it used to be, it was always right here.
Okay.
But since now I'm actually using an actual camera, at least an actual webcam, I kind of like doing the whole setting it here so you can actually see me drawing.
Stuff like that, like where you actually work, like a.
Yeah. But what was I doing? Yeah, so we're doing thumbnail studies for my class.
You're studying thumbnails. This is a great.
Well, it's
I'm teaching.
Shape studies is what we're doing. Let me see.
Well, while you're finding that, I'm going to go downstairs and put more.
Yeah. No, I'm figuring out how to use this new camera on OBS. So.
More ice. You're like, this became much more complicated.
I'm just learning new things. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
I can at least add that thing. You want me to add that thing?
Is that what I clicked? Oh, that's how that works. Sure, go for that.
There we go. Yeah, your thumbnailing skills are getting phenomenally good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all just shape studies is all we're doing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we all have to start somewhere.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
And I'm not even saying you need to start at like the beginnings, but
thumbnails are great though. Like if you really get into actually knowing like what you're doing right now, thumbnails are awesome to do.
Yeah.
Just for that reason.
Totally.
You can actually knock out a lot more ideas quicker with thumbnails and then come up with a better one, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like them. I don't know what they're saying. I mean, they say something interesting. I don't know what it is because I don't think they're doing anything.
It's actually, let me see. That's true. It's not going to show us it. It's not. Screens. Oops. All right. Let's try this again. Okay, so that's window. Entire screen. All right. Try that one now.
And I gotta find my mouse. There's my mouse. Oh, hey, that's nice.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're looking at artists and recreating their scenes and thumbnails to understand the shape language. This is the one I'm working on right now.
Right.
Just like understand the value patterns and everything. Like I did. Let's go with this one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's that one, which
I see that one, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. And just doing quick little studies like that. That's all it really is. It's really cool though, because it definitely helps you understand how an artist breaks down a scene also.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're trying to figure out something for your series or whatnot and like studying someone else's work, it actually works because of that reason too. You're like, oh, I get it now. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes a memory bank.
Right. You sort of commit it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
This sounds awesome.
Thank you. Did I hear right? I thought you said you went back to school. Was I correct on that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I went back to school. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm at the very beginning of get back to school, so there's that.
Hey, it's a start.
Yeah. I went up to CU Boulder and got the tour, which took a long time. So you have to walk all over the place. That's big. But it was kind of cool in a lot of ways because I don't think I ever got the tour the first time I was there.
Did you go the first time?
Yeah, I went in 1992. And then went for one whole semester and then did I'm smarter than all of this. I can do this on my own. And walked away going, that was stupid. And then I was going to go back to CU Boulder in 2002, but Westwood headhunted me.
Oh, didn't Westwood also like collapse though?
Yeah, well.
Later on? Okay,
cool. So now I'm doing there's a message that has been trying to be telling them. There's a message here. And that message is, you should be going to CU Boulder.
Nice.
That's the message.
That's fair. I get that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the way I'm doing this is I bribed myself.
Is what?
I bribed myself. So
okay.
I'm going to go, because it kills me to go back and redo a bachelor's degree. That is so ridiculous, especially since I didn't do it. I didn't want to get a bachelor's degree to begin with, but everywhere I went, it was, well, if you want to make more than $30,000 a year, you're just going to have to get a bachelor's degree. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I don't want to make $30,000 a year, and I don't want to be stuck here forever, and yada yada yada. So I was like, so I went back, and so it was even more irritating. So I was like, I didn't want to go back to school and get a degree. I was fine, but it wouldn't me work unless I had a bachelor's. So I went to CU and did their little sign-in thing, and Westwood must have gotten their information somehow from there. Got my information because they called me. I didn't call them; they called me. So they called me.
Found out.
That, this is the recruiter for Westwood, and they were doing. And so what they did was they were like, "Have you looked into college?" And, yes, I have. What are you thinking? I'm thinking of going and getting a fine arts degree or something with graphic design. And they were like, "We have an animation degree," and I was like, "Ooh, well, animation's better."
I do like animation.
Yeah, I like animation, and so they headhunted me, and so I went to Westwood and got my 3-year degree from there and everything like that. And also they were like, we also do our degrees in 3 years if you're willing to work through the summer. And I'm like, I don't care. Right now,
do it fast enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm sitting here as at this time, I'm like, I'm 30. Right. So I've got a day job and stuff. So that's not that big of a deal. But it was definitely, I needed to move forward. So I went to Westwood. And so it's been a double whammy. Not only did I not want to go back to college back then anyway, but I didn't want to go back to college and that degree as well. So I've been dragging my feet about going back because I'm like, this is literally like the 4th time, that I've tried myself a bachelor's degree. And the worst part about it is it's totally my fault the first time, but it wasn't really my fault the second time, third time. So it's like getting kind of irritated, and so that's why I'm like, so I bribed myself. I'm going to go for a PhD.
There you go.
And then that way, I don't have to. That way, at least I'm not just redoing what needed to be done, not fixing a problem, but going further. So, yeah.
Well, you're going further, and you're getting another degree.
Right. I'm going into a different degree too. Before I was going into art. And really, the truth is, I am wherever I'm going to be with art. This is where I am. And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Could I do better? Absolutely. Is there a lot to learn? Sure.
Always.
But also, I don't think there's a career out there that I can get into that I'm interested in. You know what I mean? I'm not... I guess I could try to get into game design and things like that, but this is one of those where I'm just super creative when it comes to art, and I don't think I can follow instructions.
I get that.
And so I'm like, I think this might be like the military, because I was going to join the military too, but then I was like, I don't think I can follow instructions there either.
Yeah.
That might not end well. But that was the choice I had made to get out of the military in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So this time I'm going to go in with Asian Studies Japanese as a bachelor's, which is then a 3 years bachelor's if it's attached to the master's degree. So that makes it 5 years to master's.
Oh, cool.
And then my PhD will be in cultural anthropology.
Okay, cool.
That way because it's all it is like my biggest interest is, why is the right and the left, why are they fighting each other? What's the story?
Right.
And I have a theory on it. So that sounds like a perfect doctoral thesis. I'm sure I'm not the first one. So I think I would probably take it and pivot it a little bit and say, and why is it affecting other countries?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been talking to Japanese who are also politicizing and polarizing to the right and the left.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking.
Oh, are you talking about like politics?
Polarizing.
Are we talking politics or are we talking the brain?
Politics.
Oh, okay.
That's cultural anthropology. Not
okay.
Politics. The study of how the politics is operating. The politics itself is political science.
Got it.
But the why of why is it operating as cultural anthropology? Cultural anthropology would be, like studying our little art group, an art community. Why do we do the things we do?
Right.
That would be a cultural anthropology thing. Not studying the art, but studying the artists and how they interact with one another. And so, yeah, I've been realizing that that's where I really should have been going all along.
That's where you want to go.
Yeah, that's where I want to go. I could do that for a long time.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it'll take the majority of my 50s to do it. But hey,
you're gonna, as long as you're having fun doing it, that's all that matters, right?
And then I'll be in my 60s teaching and being a professor.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, that also kind of fits.
You like teaching, that's the other part.
I really, really do. I'm working every weekend right now because that's the only time the school runs. Because our school has to run opposite of real schools.
Mm-hmm.
So they're only on when the schools are off.
Right.
So that's weekends right now. And that's not going to really pull enough income in. And so I'm going to have to go find some other job now, which is going to be kind of annoying, which may affect these streams, because I may have to get a day job. We'll have to see.
Hey, if it helps you and makes you happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll necessarily make me happy. I feel like I'll have 2 jobs and go to school.
I mean, going to school part.
Yeah.
Believe me, I hit that same point where I'm just like, I hate this. I don't like, because my 4-year degree became a 5-year.
Right. Well,
that's
that's
not fun.
I
tell you that right now. That is not fun.
I'm also a little worried that so I emailed the head of the department and said, let me put all the cards out on the table. And, sort of told him, I said, look, I had a degree. It was with Westwood. Westwood, of course, went belly up. And now I can't get a teacher's certificate or a license or anything without a degree. So I have to go back and get a degree. And I said, but this time I don't want to do it with student loans, because I've just spent the last 2 decades underneath my student loans, and my wife owns everything. Because I can't afford, they won't extend credit enough for me to get a Snickers bar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm tired of not having any financial control over my life. You know what I mean? I'm really tired of that. So student loans are off the table. But I'm a teacher. I'll grade papers. I'll take over classes. I mean, like, the thing that a lot of people are always worried about is, when they're doing teaching, they're always like, "Oh, I'm nervous being in front of everybody." I'm like, I don't have that problem. You know what I mean? Like, you can just stick me in front of everybody.
Right.
I'm more than happy to run that class for you. And so I'm like, I've got all the skills to kind of get on there and be useful. is there some way we can work this out so that we trade? And then I said, and also I have a mortgage and a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, I have to figure that out.
Not easy.
All of it up on the table. I said, I'm sorry, this is a long email, but I said, but every time I do things, everybody's like, why didn't you put this in? Why didn't you put that in?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're writing back to me saying that the restrictions, because I think it came from my business account. So I think that I'll reply back and say it's on. So it's actually a human, though.
Humans replying to you?
Yeah, like somebody actually responded from Meta, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
This is business support. And so I think I need to tell her, no, it was on my personal account.
One, two, three. Cool. Finally getting work done.
Yeah, I'm just doing
I tried
this.
yesterday and I had no motivation.
Yeah.
I got like 2 of these done yesterday. I was like, and something else.
Good enough. I'm going to actually lead her to my personal account real quick.
Let's see, where did I put you guys?
I can figure out how to do it. If I can figure out how to do it.
There you go. I gave you an art shirt channel.
Oh, hang on, I'm typing.
Oh, you're good.
Look real quick up here to see what you were doing. There we go. Okay. I'm still typing. That's because I'm writing back to her.
Mm-hmm. You're doing work. I understand.
Yep.
But no, that's cool that you're in school, though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know it's not easy.
Right? Well, I figured it wouldn't be. There you go. Send that off. Yeah, going back to school is not going to be easy at all. I'm not a spring chicken. I don't know if I've got enough spoons. You know, kind of worried about the ability to. Just getting buzzed by helicopters. Worried about, will I have enough wherewithal to do all of the things, Got a big life swing coming up here.
Right.
So the problem that I've got is I wrote that guy like last Thursday, and I haven't heard anything yet. And now I'm like, right to the wrong person. You know what I mean? Like, did you write to this person and just like, here's the whole story, blah, and then they're like, you're not talking to the right person. So I'll just delete this.
Oh, was that for work? The work guy you're talking about?
Oh, no. I was just saying that the dean of whatever, the assistant dean of the school of, because what had happened was
that field, yeah.
Yeah, the reason I went on the tour last week was so that I could meet face to face, because nothing I'm doing is traditional. Like, they're like, put in your high school transcripts. You don't want my high school transcripts. I was an open school student. Our transcripts are a self-evaluation of our time during the school.
Not even that, though. Like, just age difference.
Right. And I've reread my transcripts, and frankly, they're embarrassing. And I wouldn't bring me into the school on those. I'm like, but will my Westwood transcripts suffice? Despite the fact that Westwood went under, at least it would show that I was in classes. I got a good GPA. And I mean, like, I got Alpha Beta Kappa while I was there for excellence, and I was on the dean's list. Does that count? Does that not count? You know what I mean? Like, you could tell that I'm obviously, when I went back to school in my 30s, I was markedly more down and get it done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, some people, that's what they need. Like, I'm kind of the same way. Like, I was not wanting to do any of it back when I was fresh out of high school. Like, all I wanted to do was get out of school and not do anything after that. I just want to hang out with friends. That's all I wanted to do.
And then you hit 25 and your frontal lobe finally fully developed. And then you were like, oh, crap, let's get work done.
I don't know if it was fully developed. I just know I had a wake-up check. That was for sure.
Yeah.
At 25, woke up and was like, what the heck am I doing with my life?
Well, that would be the development of your frontal lobe.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, 25, 26, we're all humans, so it's not like it, you are 25 and 2 days old. Click. It's now working.
Yeah. Mine was literally, I woke up at 25, and that's when, like, I was drawing with you guys and all that stuff. And
yeah.
Like, I was drawing before that with you guys but I was more into partying and doing all that stuff. And 25, I woke up and I was like, what am I doing?
Much more attractive to you.
Yeah, I was like, let's do something. And that's where, like, RTG started. And then, well, RTG became what RTG was.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, now you're here.
Then I hit 30 and was like, what am I doing? Like, what's my next step?
Right. Now that I've done this,
I know where I've wanted to go. I'm going to see if I can actually get there finally. So,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I know that they will have special dispensation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they already said it, because they were like, all freshmen must live on campus.
Good luck.
Right at me and said, except you. Because she knew I have a mortgage and a kid. I'm not living on campus. Besides,
it's not even that, though. It's like, when you're an adult, it's different. I know why they do it.
they do it to give.
Like they say, like I asked them that too when I first started. I was like, so if I'm a freshman and I go to campus, how's that work? And they're like, well, due to your age, where I'm like, because I'm not gonna be. I told them, it's like flat out. I was like, I do not want to be in a dorm room where all the kids are partying every night. I'm sorry. Right. And they're like, yeah, no, you can do whatever you want. I'm like, do you have an adult dorm? Because if you have an adult dorm, I'll make that work.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, so I know that there's dispensation, but then there's the other questions. You know, if I take Japanese and cultural studies, I hate to say this, but Japan 101 and Japanese 101, I could probably clip out of. You know what I mean? Like,
you could test out of those, actually, really, if you wanted to. You just ask me, like, can I test out of these?
But, you know.
Go meet the teachers and the deans of the Japanese the Japanese department, and just go like, hey, have a full-blown conversation and talk about everything with them. It's like, yeah, you're already, like, level 5.
Right. Right. I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, I can...
And you've also lived there and all that, so you're like, do I really have to do all these
That's what I'm saying. Like, the, you know, introduction to Japan, I could probably skip.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Right? Because I lived in Ibaraki Prefecture. And so, like, what would you like me to talk about? Would you like me to talk about the little teeny trucks? Because I love talking about the little teeny trucks. On the other hand...
get one of those teeny trucks if I go to the school, please?
Right. Thank you. Because, I mean, that would be way awesome. There's a company in Dallas that sells those little trucks. They import them, they clear their title and all that stuff, and then sell them. And they have 2 fire engines right now. And I'm like, I just want a fire engine. I mean, that'd be just so cool. Little fire truck, drive it around with 2 little lights on top, and it goes bing, 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 because that's what fire trucks do in Japan. That little MP3 that they play of a bell being struck.
Right.
It's very cute. Which was actually, like I always say, it's one of my favorite stories. I was driving along and I hear bing, 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 and I look in my rearview mirror and it's a frickin' hook and ladder with all the lights on top going bing, bing, bing. And I'm like, that is such a frickin' Japanese thing to do.
That's awesome.
So Japanese. But yeah, I mean, like, that's what I was thinking is I can clip out of a whole bunch of these. I could probably even
get in touch with the right people.
Because I don't need English 101. I was an English teacher. So I mean, I even said this. I said, despite my, brutal adherence to putting 2 spaces after a period and the fact that I'm bullishly ignoring the Oxford comma, I'm actually pretty decent in English. I clip out of that. So it's like, I don't need those. So,
right.
We could drop an entire semester right there. I don't need Japan 101 or Japanese 101. I actually...
That's the thing. If you can drop, like, a whole semester, it's so nice.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Because, like, the
Japanese... That's the part I'm kind of confused with right now, because, like... crap. Sorry. I just realized I was...
What? I lost you, man. None of those were complete sentences. Speaking of English,
what does that say? Like one of the classes I'm in right now, technically I dropped out of. Like I opted out of because of the transfers credit. But the kind of class it is, I kind of asked him, like, can we swap this with something else? Because like this class sounds very useful. And it's a resume portfolio building class. And I was like, that sounds very useful. And I get that I opted out of it because I did something similar back in the day, but this sounds like something like actually useful than actually like, hey, your language arts credits covered, And they're like, yeah, okay, that's weird. You actually want to do I'm like, yeah, no, I really want to do this class. I want to see what they have to say. And some of the things they've already said are actually pretty interesting. Like, we are keeping a journal.
Nice.
Which is a new one. It is, let me find it. It is Employment Activity Journal. Every week you have to submit stuff that people will understand how you're employed.
Right.
Employable. Let me phrase that.
How you're employable.
And I was like, interesting. Okay. Let's check it out. And That's pretty much what I told them though. Is like when they like in this first week that just happened, I was like, problem I'm gonna see that I'm gonna have with this is that hey, I already have a portfolio, I already have a website, I have social media, like I have all the things that what we're trying to build up for, but when I start talking about myself in these scenarios, I sound cocky sometimes.
Right.
This would be a great time to like figure out how to make that not sound cocky.
Right. That's been my problem. Not cocky. My problem is stupid imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like I've been writing resumes, and then just before NDK, somebody said, "Have you been putting NDK on your resume?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Why? You're a director. It shows that you have management skills.
Yo.
It shows that you can actually manage people. And you've been with this stupid convention for 27 years. Why are you not doing that?" And I'm like, I actually really legitimately don't know.
Let me rephrase this. I never thought of it as an actual considerable career thing.
Because I think of it as a fan convention. It's like trying to tell people you watch Star Trek. Congratulations. It's not exactly
a part-time gig. Yeah.
This isn't a marketable skill. I know all of the Star Trek episodes. Yeah. That's not helping.
It helps someone.
Right? But it's, it's one of those things like, so that's the way I've always kind of viewed it. But it's not. Actually, NDK is very embedded in the Japanese community. Mm-hmm. And so it's like really big and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know why I never thought of that. I never did.
I didn't think about it too. I think until you mentioned it to me, I was like, oh yeah, you could put that on a resume.
Right. And not only could I, it actually makes me look like management level instead of entry level.
Well, and that's kind of like was my fault too with the RTG. Like everything I do with RTG is considered some kind of field, but I just never knew how to word it properly. That I don't know how it worked.
Right. I'm still listening, but my phone's blowing up, and it's over on the other side of the room. And at 11 o'clock, I'm supposed to have lunch with a friend, and so I'm wondering if that's my friend saying, I can't make it to the thing at 11 o'clock. It's horrible. No, it's for the game tonight.
Ooh. Nah, I was finally part of a game, and now I'm not. I'm kind of annoyed with it.
Yeah, actually. Well, and legitimately, it's for the game that I wasn't going to go to tonight. Because I need. So they're playing two games, this role playing group, and I really wanted to join their space game.
Yeah.
So I joined their space game, but then they were like, okay, we're going to do the space game every other week, and then the opposite Pathfinder game. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, so Guy, what kind of character are you going to make? And I'm like, So I made a bard, and then I was like,
I made a bard.
Well, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to track two games. I mean, like, I really don't. And like, kind of like, I've already got way too many irons in the fire right now.
Right.
And I mean, technically, right now, I'm wide open. Like, technically. But I've got to start figuring out grants, and I've got to figure out scholarships. You know what I mean? Like, I got to figure this stuff out.
I tell you, it's harder to find it when you're older, too. I've looked so many times, I can't find it.
For old people?
I've tried finding, like, I've applied to everything that I could. I still haven't got much. It's just harder when you're older, too. But that's because they expect you to have money. It's usually kids that don't have money, and I get it, but it still sucks. I'm like, yay, debt. Let's go.
Right? It makes me sad to see that. Like, I was looking in, what year did you graduate high school? Well, how far down can we scroll? I typed in old people returning.
I think I saw stuff for like people that are returning to college, like trying to get like higher ups. But like if you're going for like an undergrad, like I am, because you don't have any degree, they're just kind of like, you're not in high school. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know I'm not in high school anymore. I know I've been out of high school for a while. And there's like, you're not old enough. I'm like, fine.
For some reason, I cannot spell scholarships. What do I know? I don't want financing.
Also, if you talk to the school board, they advisors and that, they usually have some sites they can send you to.
Yeah, the biggest problem that I've got is this. We're not going to get, I want to keep this house, which means I have to make at least $3,500 a month somehow.
Okay.
And that's the reason I want to keep this house, is because this house we bought this house before everything went insane.
Right.
So the mortgage on this house is $1,200 a month.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And
it's easy to make too.
We've already paid a third of it.
Okay.
Right? Because, like, we've been here since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the right neighborhood. This is my neighborhood. I grew up in this neighborhood and stuff like that. And we're only 19 minutes from CU Boulder.
Yeah.
So, and I mean,
it's a good area too. I know your area. It's a good area.
This is Arvada. This is my home. I grew up here. I used to ride my bike in this neighborhood when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I really want to figure out how to make it so that I don't have to move out. So I've got to make about $3,800 a month somehow. My working on weekends only isn't gonna cut it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make a little bit more, sadly.
A little bit more than that. So we're gonna figure.
Especially when you factor in everything, but yeah.
What I'm hoping for is that CU Boulder will say, we'll give you a bunch of jobs to do up here. And that would be fine.
Oh, and be a work study, yeah.
Yeah, and that'd be fine. But the problem is, we'll give you a bunch of jobs up here. Hang on. That's my friend. There. I need car. No, I don't need my cat. My car.
He needs a George.
Right? George. Come here, George. You're taking me out places today. George, what? So.
No, that's kind of where I'm at too. If I go out, like when I actually make it out there, where my school is, that maybe they might have something for me where I can kind of work around some stuff until I get settled.
Right.
Ooh.
My high school graduation year again. How far back do you want to go?
How far back will they let?
Date of birth. Every time I put date of birth in here, I'm like, I'm so old. Because the default is always like 1990 or 1995, and I'm like, well, go further back, please, God.
We're almost there. Getting closer.
Yeah. Holy crap, that's what needs to. Okay. Since we are body doubling, I will do scholarship writing while we're doing this.
That's fine. Then I will do this while you do that. There you go. You can share the screen again.
All right.
So people can see art stuff going on.
Art. Thank you. There we go. Flat irons. These all look like weird schools again. No, I'm not going to go to any place anymore that ever. The Bob School of Bobness. No, I'm not doing any of that.
Right. All right. That one's done.
It's just so. It's interesting. Something I've noticed. There was I talked before about Rutger Bregman and his book Humankind,
Okay.
and he's the point of his book is most of us most of the time are good, but we have a negativity bias that's built into us as a survival instinct, which makes us default to believing that everybody is sucky except for a handful. But still, 90% of us are doing the right thing all the time. And so it's one of those things. He makes a case through the entire book. But it's great. But he wrote a second book as well. And in the second book, he talks about his pleading his case for universal basic income and effectively socialized programs. And he's, of course, his first statement is it's horrible what people have done to make socialized programs sound like a horrible, terrible thing, in the culture.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is, he's saying something similar to what I'm saying, which is if your basic needs are threatened, then you will do illegal things.
Yeah.
Therefore, capitalism by its nature will have a lot of people doing greedy or evil or bad things, not because they're evil or bad, but because their basic needs are threatened.
They're being put into a tough spot.
Right. And so since their basic needs are threatened, you can't get that kind of, it's just difficult to do that. Well, one of the things he had said was in 1984, Ronald Reagan changed the tax structures. And, the beginning of his trickle down theory stuff. And one of the interesting things he said was that shifted everything in America. Hey, some user, and ultimately shifted the world into a much more money-based society where teachers were downplayed and education was downplayed and studies were downplayed and academia was downplayed because it wasn't lucrative and you wouldn't make enough money to survive. Therefore, everybody shifted to becoming accountants and lawyers and things that were paying better. And he's like, that altered the nature of all of our cultures because now we're all, numbers based. Oh,
right.
No longer recommended to you. That's a bummer, some user. I'm sorry.
Oh.
So it's interesting because now, of course, it requires me to sign up for spam in order to apply for the scholarship, which I'm now realizing is going to be the way.
That's the thing that's also annoying is my phone blows up more now since I had to sign up for scholarships.
Yeah, because they all want you to buy stuff. And you know what? I'm just like having problems here with this.
Can we not today? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one thing I do not like about having to sign up for scholarships.
Yep. This Liberty University is all we've got. Where are you supposed to select it? By pressing request info, I hereby consent and agree to receive auto-dialed calls or texts.
Yep. You'll be at that for like about a month of getting rid of them. It's like, I don't want it. I don't care. Go away.
I just need... I'm trying to decide whether this is even worth it. For $1,000 scholarship? No. You'll be calling me all the time. I'm a working parent scholarship.
Oh, there's a working parent? Nice.
Yeah, I'm a working parent. Most definitely.
You are?
A parent.
Take that one.
That's one that's interesting. college jumpstart. Boomer benefits. Man, I can kind of see some of the gripes though. Well, some user, I actually went to CU Boulder, which is the university here, last week and toured the campus and worked on trying to figure out what I want to do with my life. And I'm going to go back to school and get a PhD, which is what I want to do with my life. So the problem, of course, is that I'm not exactly rich. I have a part-time job right now, and I have a kid and a mortgage. So I'm trying to figure out how to juggle all of that. So it's one of those things. So that's what we're discussing in the remaining 8 minutes we have in our show today. Before I go to lunch with somebody with one of my clients who's only going to pay me in cash, and I'm having a real problem with that because my bank doesn't do cash. So I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get this money. It's like almost it's so weird. Everything has been digital up until this month, when it's been very critical that all of my money make it through the bank on time. And this is the 1 month where everybody has paid me in cash. So I have like all this money in cash, and I can't put it into the bank.
Everything looks like it's in tips. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with USAA, and the only way to put cash into a USAA account is through the ATMs. Closest to the USAA ATM is in Nebraska. That would cost me more than it would to go. So, oh, absolutely. I'm going to get cultural Asian culture studies Japanese is my BS, and then the PhD will be in cultural anthropology, because studying people really fascinates me, and why people do stuff. Why do people do things? Why are we politicizing into right and left? Why are we literally thinking of fighting each other over things where once you get all the propaganda out of the way, we actually all agree, sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much propaganda, and it's so thick, and it's kind of cool. So, no. I don't want student loans at all. That's the other problem is, like, I don't want student loans. I also really just want to go. Oh, okay. Well, actually, they apparently did it. You didn't have to sign up for everything. So that was just a automatic thing. Because I bombed out. I was like, never mind. It's not worth it. Bombed out, and I've got an email. Right, left wing, right wing, chicken wing. It's like, that's the problem, is like, why are we fighting so much? What's the story? What's the deal? Why? And so anyway, that's a interesting thing. And so that's what I'm working on. So yeah. I think the biggest problem I'm going to run into is I can't juggle. I'm not good at juggling. You know what I mean? Like the every month you've got to go search for these 20 things and do these 60 things. And if you don't, then all your funding is going to stop. And then you'll have to do all this. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff I can't do. I mean, I can buckle down and stay focused on one topic, but it's really hard for me. That's why I'm having a hard time making money as a photographer, because you've got to go out and sell yourself all the time. And I'm not good at it. I'm just not.
I think that's most artists, though.
Yeah, I mean, like that's. But I mean,
that's usually why, like, I know a lot of friends that they have managers now. I found out they have managers.
Yeah. Well, I want
to actually do all the finding the jobs for them, and then they just send them to them. It's like, do you want to do this? You're like, yeah, it sounds fun.
Some user, the answer is both. So, the long story short is this: I went to college in 2005, or 2000, I guess it was 2004, and I graduated in 2006, and then went to Japan because you have to have a bachelor's degree to go to Japan. So I taught for 3 years in Japan, and when I came back, I found out that I liked teaching so much, I'll just go take the praxis and get a teaching degree. And when I went to the Board of Education here in Colorado, they said, "Oh, you went to Westwood College? Yeah, they weren't accredited, so it's no longer legal. So your bachelor's degree doesn't exist."
Crashed and burned.
And so I went, "Oh." And I have been so mad about that I have not done anything since then. And now I'm like, you know what? It's stupid. This is dumb. So I'm just going to go back. This time I'm going to go to Colorado University, which I'm pretty sure is not going to go belly up in my lifetime. And so at least that's one thing. And then I'm going
to. But also, even if it did, it is credited.
Right. At least
that's the downfall. That's the difference. That's why also the same thing with my school. It's an accredited school.
Right. But either way, so what's going to happen is I have not wanted to go back because I'm so mad about having to redo and pay more for a second bachelor's degree. You know what I mean? That made me so mad about that I didn't want to do it. So anyway, I recently decided that there's no way to get around this. I need to do it. But I'm bribing myself by, yeah, I know this.
Is that your alarm?
That's my alarm. So, because I'm just gonna have to head out here in a second. But the place we're meeting is just down the street, so it's not very far away.
Oh, cool.
I can finish my thought anyway. The bribe that I'm doing to myself is, if you go back and get your bachelor's degree, you can get a PhD while you're at it. So that's me bribing myself. You know, I don't want to just go back and get a bachelor's, because if I just get a bachelor's degree, then I just redid what I did in 2005. And that feels like I'm not going forward in life. I'm going backward in life and then redoing it so I can be right back here again doing what and so it's dumb. So the whole thought was that I'll go back to school, and then if I can get a Japanese undergrad, I can test out of a lot of the classes, because already I speak more Japanese than Japanese 101. So there's no point in putting me in the basic Japanese class. And I lived in Japan. So basic Japanese cultural studies class can also be skipped. And I also was an English teacher, so I can probably skip out of English 101. So my thought is, there's a number of classes I can just knock right off the list by clapping out of it, which then might shrink this down so that I can get a PhD in maybe only 6 years, which would be really nice since I'm 51. And no matter what, I can't start until next fall anyway. So somehow I'm going to have to figure out how to make this all work. So now what I'm doing is, without taking out student loans, because I'm not doing that anymore. I took student loans. I still have student loans, and it makes my credit so bad I can't buy anything. So I've got no ability to buy a house or buy a car, or I can't do any of it because it's so bad. So anyway, that's what's going on. And so that's why I'm doing this and why I'm in a flurry of activity. So, but either way, I'm getting messages from my friend who's extraordinarily punctual, who's saying, "Why aren't you here? It's 11:02. Why aren't you here? You said 11." So I'm going to clear this. I'm going to clear the stream. Thank you for joining me, Colton. I appreciate that, and thank you for joining me.
Anytime.
We'll see you again, and I'll be on again tonight. For those of you who are wondering, and everything else. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Keep your eyes on the stars. Bye bye.